Somebody said that calligraphy finds you when you need it most. That's probably the best way to say it. And I was struggling with depression. The calligraphy, I did need it. At that time, I think it found me.
20 years ago, take me back to like how, I mean, what were things like for you 20 years ago? I mean, it's an incredible journey that you've come on, and you've been through some tough times. So tell me what happened.
I was working in a marketing job. I was in a bad situation in my personal life, which I can't say too much about because there's other people who are still affected by that situation, and I don't want to hurt other people. But I was very isolated, very alone. It's hard to say. I was being bullied at home on a daily basis. That's probably the best way to say it. And I was struggling with depression. It wasn't diagnosed, but looking back now, I'm like, oh, wow, yeah. The calligraphy, I did need it. At that time, I think it found me because I needed it. I got voluntary redundancy, and I thought I chose calligraphy. I don't know if it chose me. I needed to heal. Before I could heal, I was still trapped in this situation, and I needed something that would pull me through it. I think it reminded me of something, the way my mum and my grandma especially always brought me up to be a strong, independent woman. And it sounds like a cliche, but that independence, resilience, and inner strength, I think calligraphy helped me hang on to it. Having my own business, building my own business, seeing my strengths. I could build a website, just needed to learn it as I went along, as you do, but I did it. And I taught myself to keep practicing calligraphy, get better and better.
Sense of control as well.
It is, yeah, it was. Something that was mine. And because it's so mindful as a craft, you know, you're completely in the zone, you're writing. It's probably the same for loads of makers. If you're embroidering or doing watercolours or designing or welding little bits of jewellery, is that what they do? I don't know. But you're so in the zone, focused on a tiny little thing. Yeah. It takes you away from all the horrible stuff outside. So it saved me.
Escape.
Yeah. And I held on to calligraphy through that time. When I did manage to escape, brought it with me, came back to Cumbria, which is where I grew up, and it's my home now. And calligraphy's come through that horrible place to a safe place, to a happy place.
It's been with you.
Yeah.
When life became overwhelming, Claire found herself returning to something she'd loved as a teenager. Over the next 20 years, calligraphy would become far more than a craft. It became part of who she is.
So one thing that I noticed immediately was your studio is incredible.
Thank you.
There's just so much to look at. So tell me about the calligraphy around the top.
So I wrote all the calligraphy around the top of the room early one morning. I started it early one morning, and it's an extract from my favourite book by Robin Hobb. And it's taken from the last page of that book. So it goes all around the top of the ceiling and then on 2 picture frames. One picture frame, 1 block of wood that I wrote on. And it's about nature and resilience and whatever you've been through, having the courage to stand and face the world and look out into nature and know that everything's going to be okay, I think. It's an amazing book. It's called, it's by Robin Hobb writing as Megan Lindholm, and it's called Cloven Hooves, and it's amazing.
Incredible.
Yeah. I'm proud of that. That's been on the wall since we got the house. So 15 years or so.
Wow.
Makes me feel good.
It just standing in this space is just so much that you want to look at. It's like you've got the dragons. I noticed you've got some dragons up there.
Yeah, they're from my mum and dad. So again, it's from books, Robin Hood books about dragons. And me and my dad both love those books. We'll read them again and again. And my mum and dad buy me random dragon gifts, which are brilliant. So they're hanging above my desk where I work, and they're there every day, and they make me happy. There's dragons on the wall as well, or there were. You're right, it's absolute chaos, and I change all the artwork on the walls quite often. And I did have some dragon prints. They need to go back up. Dragons and nature and flowers and birds and seed heads and all the little things that I can take inspiration from when I'm doing a calligraphy border on a poem. It's all on the walls somewhere, so I can go, that's how you do a fennel seeds or dandelion seed heads or a sunflower or a wren.
So I noticed, so where you live, there's just so many incredible spots to walk, and are you influenced hugely by nature, and how does that affect kind of like the ideas that come to mind?
That's a lovely question. I know I am influenced by nature, but I can never quite put a finger on it exactly how. I have to be out there. So we're just south of the Lake District, and we've walked the Wainwright Fells. So there's 214 Wainwright Fells. Been on the top of all of those. And then we're also by the coast. And I grew up on the west coast of Cumbria, which is a much quieter place than the kind of honeypot in the centre, where the lakes and the mountains are. So I have both of those worlds. And yeah, being there, perhaps it's a healing place for me. So it's somewhere I've come to heal, found happiness, and it's a place that is just comforting, keeps me going. And yeah, in that sense, it probably inspires my work.
Every creative business has moments of doubt, quiet months, creative blocks. The question every maker eventually asks themselves: can I really keep doing this?
Somebody said on Instagram a couple of weeks ago that calligraphy finds you when you need it most. And I'd never thought of this until I read that post. So the guy's a master calligrapher. And yeah, I started doing calligraphy. Well, I did it when I was 14 for a couple of weeks. Okay. I also did lace making and probably other hobbies that I can't remember. Yeah. And it started from there. Yeah. And it worked. 20 years later, I'm still here.
20 years.
20 years, yeah.
That is incredible. How do you keep the spark after 20 years?
Keeping the enthusiasm at that level is hard. It's a bit of a roller coaster because with every sort of business, craft business, self-employed work, there's a roller coaster. Yeah. You have good years, you have bad years, you have years when you make enough money and years when you don't. And when you have a bad year, you lose it a little bit, but you just know you'll come back. And something will come in, an order will come in, a family tree will come in. And it's the people who order from you and the people that you're in contact with that bring the spark back. And I know now that if I have a bad time, it's going to come back and I'll be fine and I'll keep going because it will pick up, or I'll pick it up, or something will inspire me to pick it back up. Like these interviews, the number of new things on my desk because I'm talking to you today. It's brilliant. I feel really good about the things I've made yesterday. Yeah. So.
The words that once helped Claire through some of the most difficult moments of her life would eventually become the words she shared with others.
Are there any times when you're creating that you feel like your work isn't good enough?
All the time.
All the time?
All the time. If I do, I mean, I've put calligraphy on the wall. Maybe that's why I've put my calligraphy on the walls. Because sometimes I'll write something and then 3 days later I'll look at it again and go, that's awful. It's not as good as whoever I just saw on Instagram. There's some amazing calligraphers on Instagram. And if I'm scrolling through social media, I'll see their content. I'm like, I'm not that good. I'm not that good. I'm not that good. I'm not that good. They're better than me. They're better than me. Oh, I wish I could write like that. And then if I'm scrolling through my camera roll, different time, that's actually quite good. Yeah. Oh, I did that really well. Yeah.
Comparison is a thief of joy.
I'm going to give you an unexpected answer.
Okay.
But it's interesting that that's what you think might be in my head. So for me, it's dragon books and song lyrics.
Oh, okay.
It's the escapism. So if I can write a passage from my favourite book about dragons, just escaping the real world and going into either the fantasy books and the dragons and the magic that I love and writing bits from that, because the quotes from those are still powerful. It's just like a metaphor for real life. And then the songs that I love, the folk metal protest singers and their words about fighting, standing up and fighting and being resilient, standing up for what's right. Yeah, that's what I wrote. Plus the things that other people... So it's other people send me the sort of really heartfelt words. And then I'm writing my own for my own pleasure and practice, thinking deep about the lyrics of a Metallica song.
That's incredible. But it is powerful. Very powerful.
It's personal. Yeah. Everyone has their own crutch thing to hang on to.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's mine.
Music lyrics are, you know, they are written from places of similar places where you've been, and that's how people emotionally get tied to them. Yeah.
That's why you love music. Somebody's really honest about their struggle.
Yeah.
Or times they've messed up or something they're passionate about. That's what you relate to.
Every handwritten piece begins with ink, but it rarely ends there. Over the years, Claire's work has quietly become part of weddings, birthdays, proposals, family memories, and moments people will carry with them forever.
The meaning that every piece I write has for other people. A lot of the time, commissions mean more to the people that I'm writing them for than they do to me. I mean, obviously, it's somebody's 90th birthday. It might be a lady with dementia, and the families thought, we'll get her a family tree. It's got everyone's names on. And she can see it every day, and it brings a little bit of bright and colour and a reminder that these 25 people are thinking about her. So yeah, that there's no way it could mean as much to me as it does to that family to write something like that.
But then in turn, that gives you a reward and gratification, knowing that your craft does that for someone.
Yeah, it's easy to forget that it goes on people's walls. Yeah. And that it's at people's weddings, and I get sent photos of wedding place cards and stuff like that. And it's the weirdest thing. You think, oh, you actually used them, and they've paid a couple of £100. Of course they're going to use them. Yeah. I'm like, oh, it's actually a wedding. It blows my mind every time. I love it.
Is there any piece that's been particularly emotional for you, like something that stands out, an order or a project or a commission that's really kind of like been very emotional?
There's a couple. Yeah, there's one that I shared on Instagram recently. A little girl had been through cancer treatment, multiple cancer treatments, and the family had worked with a charity called Beads of Courage. Okay. And Beads of Courage provide individual beads for every stage of a kid's treatment. So for a chemotherapy session, a night in hospital, all kinds of things, like weird scientific things that I'd never heard of. But there was hundreds of beads on a string, and they'd arranged it into a spiral, and they wanted calligraphy words around the outside of a mount board to kind of frame it and say what all these treatments were. And that blows my mind, that sort of journey of survival that the little girl had been through. Incredible. And what that charity does. They had beads to represent the support of the family around you, things like that. That's one. There's another one, a poem that I wrote last year, and it's the review that sticks in my mind, from a guy called Edward. Poetry commission, kind of thing that I do like every week or two. And his reply was, I love it. I cried. And when someone called Edward says, yeah, I cried when I got it. That makes me cry just thinking of it. It's crazy. So yeah, stuff that means stuff to other people. And it's little bits of happiness. I'm in the business of making people happy.
Yeah.
And sometimes it feels like it's not a proper job. It's not a worthy career. I'm not saving lives, but bringing little bits of happiness into people's lives.
We just spoke about how important stories are. Do you find people buy differently once they understand the maker?
I think so, yeah. I think it's about trust and finding someone who you trust, because if you're buying something for a big birthday or an anniversary, you want to know that it's going to be hassle-free, it's going to be easy to order, and when it arrives with a personalised item, there's going to be no mistakes or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess a lot rides on an occasion that's only going to happen once.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that person wants to get it right because it falls on them, and then how it makes them feel.
Yeah.
So if they're gifting it, if they're doing it for some event or for someone. Yeah. Yeah.
I did a proposal for someone last year.
Wow.
Yeah. He was the loveliest customer. He was an older gentleman. Not quite sure how old. He'd been widowed, and he'd met someone in the same situation. So they'd both lost their partners and found each other through a mutual friend. And he was just so in love. It was brilliant. And he commissioned me to write a love poem to the lady he'd met. And then a few weeks later, he commissioned me to write another, I think it was another poem, but it was about Venice. So they were going to Venice, and I sort of followed their story. So he wrote this love poem about Venice, and he wrote another piece for her, and they were really beautiful. And that he was inspired by the woman he'd met. And then I think it was the fourth commission that he emailed me and said, can you do me something a bit special? Can you do a proposal? He didn't even say, can you do me a proposal? He sent me the words, and I read this sort of 10 sentences. I was like, oh my God, he's going to ask her to marry him. So yeah, I did that. I think I did him one for Christmas and then one for the proposal. And just based on, he'd had a good experience booking from me in the past. He knew that I could sort of translate his ideas into what he wanted as a poem.
Incredible.
Yeah. I made him a little scroll for the proposal. It was a tiny little scroll about that high, and it rolled out to about a foot wide. And it was in a little box, I think, tied with a ribbon. It's really nice to do.
And then the thing is, your story is now connected to his story. So when he tells people about his proposal, you'll be in that.
Yeah.
You're part of that, whether or not it gets translated in that way. But, you know, that's the reality of it.
Yeah.
Everything that we do for other people, we're passing our little footprint, our fingerprint into their story.
Yeah.
Like a little thumbprint on a page and a chapter they've written.
Yeah.
You're part of that. I think that's incredible.
Watching Claire write makes it look effortless. The reality is very different. Behind every finished piece are hours of patience, practice, and the willingness to begin again until everything feels just right.
Is there a favourite part of the process that you like more than anything else?
Yeah, so thinking of a calligraphy poem, it takes a few false starts to get going. So somebody will email me, give me the words of a poem that they've written or chosen for a wedding reading or an anniversary. And I have to set out the layout on paper, measure it, make sure the calligraphy style that they've chosen is going to work on that paper. And I'll start writing it. And I'll do it once, and I'll do maybe 2 sentences or 4 lines, and I won't like it. So that gets screwed up over my shoulder, and I start again.
Okay.
And so every poem that I do, 3 or 4 tries, there's just something that doesn't feel quite right to me. And I don't change anything.
No.
I just start again. And then on the 4th or 5th try, it just clicks. And I get sort of 4 or 5 lines down, then 8 or 10 lines down, and you see all the calligraphy starts to come together. And that's the bit. That's where it starts to look good. I start to feel proud of what I'm doing. I know that they'll love it.
Yeah.
And,
So a bit like how the kind of like ink flows as such, but I guess as you're going through and you're making progress, do you get this kind of sense of like the flow speeding up because you're getting into it and you know that it's right, and there's nothing in there that you need to kind of like doubt as such?
It's the rhythm of it.
Yeah,
of
rhythm,
calligraphy. Yeah.
the flow.
Once you've got that, it does flow.
Yeah.
And you feel happy. You can relax into it and really enjoy the process. That's the bit.
And you mentioned to me before that there's a sense of like noise that comes from the contact of the nib on the paper. I can imagine that's quite relaxing.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're in a silent room.
It's a gentle sort of sound.
Yeah.
With calligraphy. Yeah.
Is there any advice that you give to people that feel like it's too much for them?
It's a skill, and it's something that comes with practice. So going to a workshop is a brilliant way to start, because you get to see somebody holding the pen at the right angle, and it's basic stuff like that. You hold the pen at the right angle. You learn how to use it to press and make thick and thin strokes. And once you've watched it, it's all about going home and practicing yourself and just investing half an hour here and there to practice a little bit, writing shopping lists. People come to the workshops with different expectations. So some people think that they'll come to a 2-hour workshop with no knowledge of calligraphy and leave being able to write all their Christmas cards. Other people come with a friend sometimes and they think, well, this isn't for me. There's no way I'll be able to do it. And they leave just delighted with the progress that they've made in those 2 hours. Everyone's different. It's learning all the skills you need to practice and then just spending a little time regularly. And that's the joy, because it's lovely to do. It's mindful. You're focused in on your paper and your pen and the way the nib moves and the sound it makes. Yeah. And it's slow.
Therapeutic.
It's lovely to do.
And I'm guessing there's some form of control over your breathing as well, or some kind of affects your breathing.
Yeah. I mean, in workshops, when people have been doing it for the first time, the trick is to breathe and to make sure that they are breathing. Because when you're writing, it's joined up letters, you are so focused.
Yeah.
I see people and they're sort of going a little bit blue. Julie, breathing. And it's lovely. People just get so focused. But you can sort of do it with the breath. And
make sure you don't pass out.
Yeah, try not to just flop over.
Success means different things to different people. For Claire, it was never about building the biggest business. It was about building a life she no longer wanted to escape from.
So tell me what the future looks like in your eyes for you and your business. Is there a dream? Is it, I know that things are difficult to get that spark back in your business, but do you have any like hopes and dreams, or is there something that you're aiming to achieve, to do, to?
I don't want to take over the world. I think there's a lot to be said for having a small business and embracing it as a small business.
Absolutely.
And just keeping it really personal and real. So I want to keep being able to afford the dreamies,
Yeah.
living an independent life, having the time to go on the beach, all the things that I ever wanted when I first started this. To be able to choose the commissions I like, to write more poems. I love doing those little quotes, little poems, little bespoke orders, and just writing people's names. And it's, the satisfaction isn't from, I don't want to make 50k a year. I'm happy with 25. There's a tax thing there.
Right, okay, yeah.
Yeah, 25 isn't 25, is it? And that's caught me out before. I'm probably not the only one. But yeah, just to have enough money to, I think going on holiday is a nice thing to be able to do. It doesn't have to be abroad. I don't want to go abroad. I feel like I live on holiday, being so close to the Lake District. It's pretty amazing.
Been for a walk down the beach at lunchtime. It's incredible.
Exactly, that's the goal, just to be able to do what I'm doing.
I think for a lot of people is having that ability, having that flexibility of control over your own time.
Yeah.
You know, because that's one thing that money can't buy is time.
Yeah.
And it's the one thing that actually only matters when we come to the end of it.
Yeah.
So I think just, having control over what you do with your days.
Yeah.
And who you speak to, and money is the tool to do that. So whatever it requires, because some people can be rich and not have a lot at all.
Yeah.
Depends on your lifestyle.
Yeah. The richness for me comes from just the freedom to nip out at lunchtime.
Yeah.
To go on the beach.
Things you didn't get before with your job that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You feel stuck.
And not having anyone telling me what to do. The whole corporate thing of the men in suits.
Yeah.
Saying this is how this works. Oh no.
How does it feel to have someone travel all the way from Cambridgeshire to tell your story?
It feels just, it's kind of mind-blowing in a way, but I think we're similar mindsets. If there's an opportunity to do something, just do it. See what happens. Enjoy it.
I think there's more opportunities out there for people than we realise or they realise. And certainly, I think when you keep your eyes open or just go for those little small opportunities thinking, well, no, that's not practical. But then some of the biggest things in history have been created out of not being practical. Look at what the Wright brothers did. Do you know what I mean? Got plane off the ground. That's not practical.
Let's try and fly some humans.
Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe we should do the things that feel less practical.
Yeah.
Because if we did all the things that were practical, there'd be no one growing. There'll be nothing really exciting happening in the world.
This really comes across from what I've seen from all your other videos for Ingenious Gifts as well. It's about growing a platform and growing yourself. Yeah. And driving 5 hours away and doing something insane like this. I mean, grows you. You don't know where it'll take you next year.
Yeah. I've never been through Bradford before.
No.
Until this opportunity come up. Do you know what I mean? And
there you go.
There's so many things that if you look at it in a positive way, there's so much more to take from something someone might see as so small.
I have little moments now driving back when I've done a calligraphy workshop and I'm driving back here because I didn't used to drive until I came back to Cumbria. When I had that bad patch in my life, I didn't have the independence of driving even. But now I sometimes pinch myself. I'm driving home from a calligraphy workshop. I've got my car. I'm driving it on my own. I've taught all these people. I've had a lovely class. People have said nice things. And you just have these moments where you just feel, I don't know if it's successful, but just the joy of living like a creative life and doing things that make other people happy. It's great. It's part of it.
Well, that's a good lead into my next question, actually. Okay. Because I was going to ask, when people watch this film, what do you hope they remember?
I'm going to say sort of kind of self-deprecating things. I don't want them to remember me. I want them to relate it to I know.
I know, that is the whole point.
Yeah. No, I want
This
people...
is what stories are all about. You are the storyteller.
But then it's everybody's interpretation of the story. It's like a songwriter writes a song and everybody who listens takes something different from it.
Yeah.
And that, now it sounds quite lofty of me to say it, but I want people to know that you can have a handmade business or a craft business or something that you've built yourself from scratch. You can keep growing it for 20 years or more. You don't know where it's going to go, but just enjoy it. Just stick with it. Resilience is really important.
Really tough economic times as well.
Yeah, economic, personal, yeah. I don't know, people have their health stories and everything. Just whatever you're going through, cling on to creativity.
"20 years ago, calligraphy found Claire when she needed it most. Today, through every poem, every handwritten name, and every carefully chosen word, she quietly becomes part of somebody else's story. Perhaps that's the real beauty of handmade. Not simply the things we create, but the people we become because we created them. Because the best gifts always carry stories."